One percenters, welcome back, Coach Tommy. How good is Jamal Murray in the playoffs? Thinking basketball,
Let's go back to game
the nuclear
2 of
weapon.
the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers have led most of the game, but the Nuggets have inched within 2. Jamal Murray's been struggling all night, missing 12 of his 17 attempts, but he snakes around a screen and double clutches a little floater. Still trailing by 2, Murray finds a little pocket on the other side of his screen and rises up to give Denver the lead. With two-time MVP
Confidence. I've talked a lot about confidence. Where does confidence come from? People think confidence comes from practice. I used to think that confidence doesn't come from practice. It comes from inside. Confiding in yourself. Do you have the self-belief in yourself? No one can take your confidence. Only you can give it up. People think that you practice more, you have confidence. Have you ever met a teenage boy? Their confidence is through the universe. And there's no actual rational reason for their confidence. But for some reason, people think confidence comes from practice. I used to. I don't. Confidence comes from the inside. And that's a long, deep down psychological hole that you have to master.
Nikola Jokic resting on the bench. Denver stalls early in the possession. Jeff Green passes on a 3, and when Murray gets it back, he's matched up with Anthony Davis and just lets an arrow fly from deep, and now Denver's up 4. With a bit of a lather going,
are you not entertained?
Says, why not try something even harder? So with the shot clock dwindling, he pulls up from 30 over LeBron and rips it, and suddenly
the shot over
Denver's
80 was
up
harder.
9. A minute later, it's full heat check mode, grabbing a handoff, and that's
just
a
regular
14-point detonation in 5 minutes to swing the game. Or, as Mike Breen would say, Jamal Murray went. All told, Murray dropped 23 in the fourth quarter, but that wasn't the first time he's exploded in the playoffs to turn a game for the Nuggets. If anything, these Murray avalanches have become the norm in the playoffs for him, where he turns into something more than just Denver's second best player.
Okay, Murray avalanche.
Back in 2020, the Nuggets made a surprising run through the bubble to the Western Finals, with Murray emerging as a second star alongside Jokic. He then missed the next 2 postseasons recovering from an ACL tear, but in the 2023 playoffs, he's picked up right where he left off. We already discussed the power of his two-man game with Jokic during the Phoenix series, but since the bubble, Denver's had a 7-point jump in their playoff offensive rating when Murray joins Jokic on the floor, because their skill sets interact organically. To begin with, Jamal is a good movement shooter, meaning he can dart around without the ball like this, then run to catch a pass, square, and fire in one motion. This pairs perfectly with Jokic's handoff game around the top of the key, where Murray can cut across the middle of the floor into high percentage threes, or he can start on the baseline, fly up for the catch, and turn and shoot comfortably as well. His defender was buried on that screen, and that left too much space for a shooter like Murray. So on the very next possession, the Lakers decide to take away that handoff by switching the screen, and that triggers Jokic's passing on the slip. When you're worried about Murray tossing it to Jokic and chasing it for a handoff, they can counter with a flare to the corner where Jamal drifts into a warm-up jumper. And this is where passing and movement synergize, because this defender can't immediately jump out to Murray because Jokic will hit the screener cutting to the hoop. Jamal
is this a video about Jamal or Joker?
Is a good enough cutter that he can flip it to Nikola and fake a handoff to go backdoor, then pass on the move when the defense collapses.
These are basic plays, bro.
Game creates a ton of read and react options. Murray screens here, then curls right around the handoff into a good look from 3. So the next time they run the same play, Murray's defender is glued to him, and he just drives into space and kicks it back to Jokic, who attacks the closeout.
Okay.
The next, a ton of read and react.
All of this read and react. If you watch any kind of film, if you're in the NBA, hopefully you know this stuff by now. Even high-level high school players, college players, you should know all this stuff.
Options. Murray
What makes
here,
Jamal really special?
then curls right around the handoff into a good...
Okay, right here. He skips into this jumper. It's the footwork that he can shoot from. He can shoot from all of them. Maybe not the right foot jumper. Okay, I've seen him shoot left-legged, left-right, right-left, off a hop. Okay, right here. He pushes into it. Right, left, right. So that's like a pull-up jumper.
So the next time
The
they
same
run the
action,
same play,
he comes
Murray's
across.
defender is glued to him, and he
This
just
is a right-left.
drives.
Boom, right-left. He fakes it. You've seen him shoot plenty of times off a right-left, so you never know exactly when he's going to shoot because he's comfortable with all these footworks.
Kicks it
There's a step back.
Jokic, who attacks the closeout.
Right, so
for a
right
foul.
hop.
A minute later, they run pick and roll with the ball in Murray's hands. He takes the empty space on the baseline and goes off one leg, Dirk style.
Okay, so what makes him truly special? Working with Joker. Joker gets all of the attention. So you really don't know what Jamal's gonna be like without Joker giving him all that help, because Jamal's not super gifted athletically. He's gifted footwork, agility, kind of mentality. But he doesn't draw the attention. He doesn't have the physical prowess to be a number one. He can be a very, very, very high level number 2.
Then on the very next trip, they isolate for Jokic in the post. Murray walks his man to the elbow.
Like if Jamal Murray switched places with Damian Lillard, how many points would Jamal average? Probably 40 points a game.
Beautiful.
But would they win? Like how they're winning the Nuggets? Probably not.
Handoff into
And then how easily can Damian Lillard switch into Jamal's role? Can Lillard come off screens? Can he come off handoffs? Does he have multiple footworks? Lillard is not as fluid finishing around the rim with creativity and off of different footworks. Damian Lillard is much more precision.
a floating jumper on the base.
But he can hit all of these jumpers.
All this means Denver can run actions where Jokic screens and Murray is the ball handler, or they can run identical versions where Jokic has the ball.
These are very hard to predict
all
because
this means Denver can run actions where Jokic screens and Murray is the
all right, this is not a traditional kind of pull-up jumper. He jumps and then it's a jump floater or a real old school jump and then shot, like jump shot.
Or they can run identical versions where Jokic has the ball and Murray is activated in the handoff game. And that's amazing touch to arc it over Anthony Davis.
How good is Jamal Murray in the playoffs? I mean, he's definitely mentally locked in a little bit more.
The Nuggets will even use Murray as the screener because Jokic is so good with the ball. And here a second screen frees him up, and it's another great
pauses, touch step back.
Later in Game 3, they went back to that inverted pick and roll. And because Murray is such a threat to shoot on the move, two defenders jump at him, and that's way too easy for Jokic. So now the Lakers are worried about Joker's shooting, and when they run it the next time down, both defenders linger on him, and he just bounces it down to Murray, and it's another creative finish.
That was crazy.
But Jamal can make the exact same play when he has the ball, drawing two defenders to his dangerous shot, only to thread it back to Jokic. And that's the thing. Murray is good enough as a primary pick and roll weapon to carve up defenses by himself. If a big man gives him too much defensive attention, he can make the pocket pass and Jokic can finish. But he also knows how to use those massive screens, setting his man up perfectly to be picked off so he can unleash his own long-range offense.
Misdirection.
This one is really masterful against massive screens, setting his man up perfectly to be picked off so he can
get a little bit here, so it's a bounce misdirection.
Unleash his own long-range
pound
offense.
Misdirection.
This one is really masterful against Josh Okogie, slamming on the brakes to fake a crossover right, and that gets Okogie scrambling around the screen, so Murray goes right anyway, which draws the big man, so he flicks it back to Joker for the rainbow. Yes.
That's a mishandle.
Scrambling around the screen.
That's a mishandle behind the back wrap.
This one is really masterful against Josh Okogie, slamming on
But
the
when you
brakes to fake across
play a lot
right,
like this,
and that gets Okogie scrambling around the screen.
right? He controls it, and then he uses it to set up the screen,
So
right? And then you get an over-aggressive
Murray
guy.
goes right anyway,
Then
which
you take what he gives you.
draws the big man. So he flicks it back to.
Then you settle to see what they're gonna do, right? He can still run and jump in the corner. He can rise up and shoot that if he's wanting to. He could float it over Aiden. He can throw a lob. Instead, he goes with a pocket bounce pass.
Yes. Since Jokic is such a great finisher, teams rarely ever trap Murray in these situations. This one opens up a 40+% three, or sending two to Murray like this will free up the Joker as a short roll passer, which is a total disaster for the defense. But Murray can play his game without Jokic, using ball screens to set up his pull-up three, or playing a less effective two-man game with someone else, running his guy around a bunch of handoffs before a moment of brilliance springs him for a Jordan-esque mid-range. Playing a
two-man game is only as effective as the two-man involved. If both can shoot, both can finish at the rim, both can make the pass, I mean, aren't you just in general going to be in trouble?
Someone else running.
Jeff Green, does he dribble the ball very well? No. Does he slash very well? Yes. Does he shoot very well? Not so much.
His guy around a
So Karl Anthony Towns can sit in the paint.
bunch of hand.
Doesn't even close out there. Here comes another action. He can show a little bit. Okay, let Nikhil Alexander recover. But then this is a great ball handling move there. Right? A bad steal. And then this is a runaway or
mid-ranger.
Runaway shot.
He showed off the handle on that one. And he'll flash some high-level dribbling moves here and there. But so much of his success comes from how many different ways he can get into his shot. Instead of snaking around.
Why don't you just say this from the beginning?
This time, it's so much of his success comes from how many different ways he can get into his shot. Instead of snaking around and stepping back to his left, this time it's the same shot going right.
See, so he pounces.
How many different ways he can get into
okay, so that's a touch, step back.
Instead of snaking around and stepping back to his left, this time it's the
right here, this subtle little glance, like is he gonna roll? And then in this brief second, pop, boom. So one hop shot, and then he's fading away, controlled fade over Gobert.
And notice how he hops and turns himself in mid-air. This time he comes off the screen, slows
but I'm just a dude.
Down, and watch his feet tap dance into a little push shot. But he can also fly around a screen, slam on the brakes, and step back into a perfect three.
This is the more traditional step back that most guys don't do anymore. The best step back that I ever seen was Kemba Walker.
Slam on the brakes.
Bam! He does a 2-foot step back.
Into a perfect three.
So this is much more like how you would stop if you're a wide receiver.
Push shot, but he can also fly around a screen, slam on the brake.
That's a left, right, speed stop, and then he gets out of it. He pushes back.
And step back into a perfect three. Shots like that take a ton of strength. And Jamal's a big guard, pushing 6'4" barefoot. So he can take opponents to the post for twisting fadeaways like this. And he'll combine these two moves, driving into the paint to decelerate before pivoting back over that right shoulder.
One of those moves I tell you need to work on.
Footwork and use of
speed stop front pivot.
And he's big enough to fire over wings. And this time he comes off the screen, pauses to move the second defender, then goes to the old up and under move. And Murray practices all of these off-balance leaning shots with his right and left hand. Again, look at the footwork on some of these. Going to a jump stop, 180 pivot, and then finishing with the left.
That was so pretty.
His game has this bending,
it's called a jump stop
on some of these. Going to a jump stop.
Most, I guess, American players, they don't know how to jump stop. Everything's like a Euro step or faster and faster and faster. Guys, I literally teach kids every day how to jump stop and how to utilize their pivots. And parents that think they know how to play, sometimes they'll come up to me after like, hey coach, isn't that a travel?
180 pivot and then finishing with
he clearly lifted the left foot there.
The left. His game has this bending, flowing quality about it.
Be
that
like
reminds me of
water.
that Bruce Lee
Oh my
quote
god.
about
Oh my
water.
god. What's going on
And
with
then
me today? I'm
finishing
like
with the left.
1
His
second ahead
game
of this
has
thinking basketball guy.
bending, flowing quality about it that reminds me of that Bruce Lee quote about water, where he's constantly moving, hopping,
So
or
is Joker.
swinging to bend around the defense.
Ooh, that's so
When
pretty.
you add up all of the different
White
ways
Man Can't
he
Jump.
gets
Go watch White Man
outshot,
Can't Jump with Sidney Dean. And I don't know what the other guy is, but my boy, the new version, Nelly Nell. Shout out to Nelly Nell. Asian boy representing, hanging out with Jack Harlow. White Man Can't Jump.
without the ball.
The new version.
Murray has a robust scoring package.
The old version's
full of
way better.
counters that leave playoff defenses at the mercy of his shot making. In the last two postseasons, he's made 49% of his mid-range shots, 6% ahead of the league, and he's even better from deep, drilling 43% of his threes. Larger samples suggest he's not quite that good, but he's been at 40% from three in his last two regular seasons. He's an 87% career free throw shooter, so he is certainly elite from the outside. He's actually increased his offensive load in the playoffs, possessing the ball 40% of the time Denver's on offense, which ranks 5th in the league. The one side of that,
why does he have the ball more? Because those other dudes can't be trusted.
that he can over dribble at times looking for a shot,
AKA
which
number
will
one.
stall out the possession. But Murray's shot making is so good that when nothing is there, he can still fall back on something viable.
Misdirections usually work. The misdirection, if you really are good, it's a between the legs misdirection. Left to right, between the legs misdirection. Very, very difficult shot.
This is the key to his volcanic
But it works
explosion.
every time.
Elite shooting,
Right hop.
highly diverse scoring, and a Shaolin focus to enter a sort of basketball
Right, left,
fugue
hop.
state. In 2020, he averaged
Fugue?
highly diverse scoring.
Did he say
and
fugue?
a Shaolin focus to enter a sort of basketball fugue state. In
Wow, he did
2020,
fugue.
he averaged
This guy's so smart.
47 points a game in a 3-game stretch in the Utah series,
Floater.
the third most points ever across 3 playoff games. And to put into perspective how hot he was, when Jerry West averaged 48 in a 3-game stretch, he needed 40 more scoring attempts than Murray, and when Michael Jordan did it, he needed 32 more.
MJ.
When Jamal catches fire, you'll see all the moves. One-legged runners, step-back threes, floaters, and more.
Damn,
His
reminds me of
latest
myself.
explosion helped swing Game 3 in the Western Finals, pouring in 30 points in the first half while Jokic struggled to score. After coming off the screen, he peeled back for a long
Drag.
jumper. He took a smaller guard to
Give
the
me this,
post
boy.
and hit him with that MJ
You a
fadeaway.
baby.
We saw
Definitely
the
not MJ
drive
fadeaway.
into a pivot and fade from the top of the key. And against Anthony
Too
Davis,
much meat.
a stone cold pull up from the wing.
That's
and
Kobe-esque.
that shooting then opens up his off-ball cutting game, and all that scoring opens
Okay,
up
two-handed on the
playmaking
backboard.
opportunities, and suddenly
Oh.
he's manipulating
Oh,
LeBron
herky
James
jerky.
by no-looking it to the corner for a
LeBron
wide
James.
open three. And you do not want to be guarding this guy when he starts talking to himself. Somehow, Jamal Murray has never made an all-star team, but he's quite clearly Denver's other star.
He's
He just
definitely making a
averaged
name for himself
33
now.
points per game on 65% true shooting in the conference finals.
Not better than Steph
He even
Curry.
made some key defensive plays while
he's catching
holding his
up
own
real
on
quick.
that end. And when he's playing like this, he'll single-handedly swing playoff games, and he makes the Nuggets offense.
Got him. There you go with the strong step
Unstoppable.
back. Oh yeah, Booker has a really
If
good
you
step
want to
back too.
work in basketball,
Traditional step
I
back.
have the place for you. If sports business
Man, I need to go work in basketball somehow because something going on with my brain where I understand all this stuff before it even happens. Let me know what you guys think about Jamal Murray. Kind of interesting. If you guys followed me at all, we've covered all this, so it's a review. Study. NBA Finals right around the block. It's going to be boring if it's against Miami. If it's against Boston, hopefully it'll be more interesting. Until next time, take 14 minutes, 24 seconds, or 1% of your day to get better. Peace.